Okay, let's do a horror movie haul. So I recently went to a used books superstore near me that has both books and movies, and I scored big time with the horror DVDs. And I also went to Savers and scored some good finds there as well. So I have a lot of movies here. Let's go through them. I'm excited to show them off. Let's start with the Stephen King finds. These I got at Savers. This is Pet Sematary. It's a special collector's edition, although I don't know what's so special about it because there are no special features. But I think the special edition is this cover because there's also The Dead Zone, which I found. So Pet Sematary is a Stephen King classic. It's about a dad who buries his son in an ancient pet cemetery that's behind his house, and his kid comes back, but he doesn't come back the same because sometimes dead is better. And then I picked up The Dead Zone, which is, I feel like, an underrated Stephen King horror movie. This is from David Cronenberg. It's one of the first David Cronenberg movies that I watched. I think it's one of the first movies that I talked about when I started my channel, like 2 years ago this week. It's about this guy who he gets into a car accident and it puts him into a coma for like 5 years, and when he wakes up, he has these psychic abilities, and he meets this guy who's running for president, and he sees that this guy is gonna destroy the world basically, and he has to decide if he's gonna act on the knowledge he has now before anything happens, or if he's just gonna let it happen. It's really good. Christopher Walken is really good. The ice is gonna break! Iconic line. And although I did not pick these up at Savers, I actually picked them up at different places. They're also Stephen King related, so I figured I'd just go keep on with the Stephen King stuff. We have Storm of the Century, which I have been looking for this for years. I love this miniseries so much. It is the perfect winter watch, in my opinion. It's about this small island town in New England that is cut off from the mainland as a huge, gigantic snowstorm is about to hit. And as this snowstorm is rolling into town, this mysterious and dangerous stranger shows up, and people start dying. And this stranger, he wants something, but he's not gonna tell them what it is right away. He's gonna make them fight for that knowledge. This one is so creepy. I love the small town vibes. The villain is one of the best villains, one of Stephen King's best villains I've ever seen. He's just so charming and terrifying. His abilities are terrifying, and I love the main protagonist, Mike Anderson, played by, what's his name? Tim Daly. He's a dreamboat. I love him in this. He's so good. This movie is so good. It's also finally streaming on Hulu right now, and I highly recommend you watch it. But I'm excited to finally have it in my collection. Then I picked this one up on eBay, The Night Flyer, which is one of the more underappreciated Stephen King horror movies. This is based on one of his short stories. This is about a ruthless tabloid reporter who discovers that there might be a vampire killing people on airfields across the US, and he investigates, and he gets a little too close to the danger. This one has one of the most terrifying climaxes I've ever seen. I love the neo-noir mystery detective aspect of this. I think it can be a little silly, but the atmosphere is great. It's so creepy. Miguel Ferreira is the lead, and he's great in this. And yeah, the ending is just absolutely terrifying. Don't believe you can find that to stream anywhere. Somebody might have put it on YouTube. So if you can find it to stream on YouTube, I would highly recommend it, and then go buy it. I also picked up Gremlins at Savers. This is a Christmas classic. It's about a boy who receives some mogwai, little gremlin creatures, and he doesn't listen to the rules of keeping a mogwai. They get wet, they eat after midnight, and chaos ensues. The monsters, the little gremlins, wreak havoc on this little town. This movie is actually scary. When you watch it, you're like, whoa, this is actually dark, but also so much fun. Then I picked up another copy of Frailty because I'm an idiot. I was like, I can't believe I don't already have this. I keep track of what I own in an app, and I checked and I didn't see it in there because I forgot to put it in there. So I now have like 3 copies of this movie at this point. This is one of my favorites. It's about this dad who's religious, and one night he tells his kids that a voice from God came to him and told him he needs to rid the world of demons, and these demons are in people. So the only way to do that is kill people. And it's kind of a story about right and wrong and religion, and the young boys are really affected by this. One boy truly believes his dad, one thinks his dad is just losing his mind. It's so good. Then I picked up Blade, which is a vampire classic starring Wesley Snipes, and he's like a good vampire. I haven't watched this in years, but I remember loving it when I was younger. Stephen Dorff is the bad guy in it. They're supposed to be remaking this, but I don't know what the hell's happening with that. Then I picked up Dog Soldiers, which is one I watched a long time ago. I know a lot of people love this one, so it's from Neil Marshall, I believe, who is the same guy who made The Descent, which is one of my favorite horror movies. And I saw this, decided to pick it up so I can give it another watch, see if I like it as much as everybody else. It's about a group of soldiers who encounter werewolves in the woods. Then I picked up Shutter Island, which is a mystery thriller about a detective who's investigating a disappearance of someone in this asylum on Shutter Island. It's twisty, it's dark, Leo is great, and I like this one. Now we're moving on to an even bigger haul. This was all one trip, which is insane. Like, I should have controlled myself, but they're only like $1. So how can I control myself when it's only $1? So first I picked up The Wolfman. This is the remake starring Benicio del Toro. I feel like this one gets a lot of crap, or it did when it initially came out. I haven't seen it in years, but I know that it's just beautiful to look at. The atmosphere is great, the setting is gorgeous, and the cast is stacked. Then I picked up The Vanishing on 7th Street, which is a mystery thriller that I think a lot of people don't know about, but I think it's worth checking out. It's about a group of people who wake up one night or day and they realize that the world is plagued with darkness and everybody's kind of disappeared. And this group of survivors, they get together and they basically take refuge in this bar. And it's just really interesting. It's really creepy. I love the atmosphere and vibe, and the cast in this is also great. So I'm excited to revisit it. I think you can stream this somewhere too for free, but I can't remember. Oh no. It sounds like it's a little broken. Then I picked up Crawl, which is a monster creature feature that I really like. I think it's a lot of fun. It's about this girl who goes to check on her dad during a hurricane, and she finds him in the basement of their home, and it's flooded, and there's alligators in the basement, and they have to survive. This one is just fun. This one fills me with anxiety and stress, and it makes me sit on the edge of my seats because you're just rooting for this girl to get out and get safe, but there really is no safety because there's water everywhere. It's just a lot of fun. Then I picked up 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. This one, 28 Days Later, is more of the classic. It's about this guy who wakes up one day and all of London is ruins, basically, and there's a zombie plague, and these zombies are terrifying. These infected people, they run, and when you get bit or infected, it takes like seconds for you to turn. It's so quick, so violent, so stressful. 28 Weeks Later follows the aftermath after things have kind of calmed down. They're rebuilding the city, and then another outbreak happens. I saw somebody shit on this one when I shared it on my TikTok, and I don't understand why this one gets any hate. It's not as nearly as good as the first one, but it's still fun. It has an amazing cast, and I like how they expand on the pandemic and how the world is trying to help rebuild London or the UK, and just how it's affected everything. I thought it was a great follow-up, so I don't understand any hate. Then I picked up another one that I already have, but I didn't realize I already had it, is Deep Blue Sea. I love Deep Blue Sea. It's cheesy, it's ridiculous, it has sharks, genetically modified sharks called Smalta, and they start breaking down this facility to kill the people inside. I love it so much. I love shark movies. This is one of the best. This one has a scene at the end where no matter how many times I watch this movie or how old I am, they have to swim up to the surface of the ocean and hold their breath. Whenever that scene comes on, I have to hold my breath to see if I can last as long as they can. And you know what? I can. And I'm very proud of that. But I don't know if I would be able to outswim the sharks. But do you ever do that when you're watching a movie where a person has to hold their breath? You have to hold your breath too? It never fails. I have to do it every single time. Then I picked up The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. This is a prequel to the 2003 remake of The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I actually think it's really good. It's basically following the origins of the Hewitt family. So you see how the Hewitt family comes to be and their first set of victims. Then I picked up Vacancy 2, which is a really good sequel that I don't think a lot of people have seen. I love Vacancy, the first one. I think it's really good. fast, tight little thriller. Ew, tight little, that sounded weird. I'm sorry. And then Vacancy 2 is basically a prequel to that, and it's following this group of people who were the first victims of this motel that is a front for a snuff filmmaking ring, basically. And it has Agnes Bruckner, who is an actress I really like, so I like this one. I also picked up this copy of Seven, which I already own Seven, but I didn't own this composition notebook version of Seven, and it's just really cool. When you open it up, it looks like case files, and it's really disturbing and creepy. I love Seven. It's a crime thriller about two detectives who are searching for a serial killer who is using the 7 deadly sins as a basis for his crimes. I think this is horror. Then I picked up Halloween 2, which is the sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween. I really like this one. It has a lot of nostalgic factor for me. I love that it's set in the hospital. Hospitals are inherently creepy. I used to work in one, and I love that basically it's Michael running amok in this hospital, killing off people. And you also find a little bit more backstory to Laurie Strode and her relationship to Michael. I think it's fun. Then I picked up Stigmata, which is a movie that I haven't seen in years, and I want to revisit it. It's about a young woman who gets a stigmata, which basically is when a person starts bleeding from the same wounds as where Christ was crucified, so like in your hands and like around your head and all that stuff. And she starts experiencing this, and a priest played by Gabriel Byrne starts investigating, and I just remember it being disturbing. So I'm excited to revisit it. Then I picked up Evil Dead 2, which is my favorite of the Evil Deads. It's more silly. It's basically a reboot of the first movie. It's just over the top, campy, good fun. It's outrageous. It's gross. It's about a group of people, friends, who stay in a cabin in the woods, and they wake up some deadites and start getting possessed. Then I picked up another Bruce Campbell horror movie called Bubba Hotep, which is one I think a lot of people overlook. It's one I've grown to appreciate over time and with age. This is about two men living in a retirement home. One believes he's Elvis and one believes he's JFK, and they band together to try to stop this monster that's killing people within the home. And it's just funny and silly, and it's also really sad when you think about it, where it provides some commentary on aging and how the elderly are kind of pushed into these homes, pushed to the side and kind of forgotten. And it's really emotional and sad, and it becomes more sad as you get older. Then I picked up The Conjuring, which is a modern haunted house classic, I think. It follows this family who are being tormented in their home by ghosts and stuff, like demons and shit. And Ed and Lorraine Warren are paranormal investigators, played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, who make this movie, who make those characters what they are. They come in and help this family, or try to help this family. I think it's fun. I think it's creepy. I think that it's perfect for new horror fans. And what more can I say? Then I picked up Insidious 3, which is my favorite of the Insidious movies. This is about a young girl who visits Elise and tries to contact her mother, and on her way home, the spirits follow her. She gets into a really bad accident, she breaks her legs, and she's confined to a wheelchair within her apartment for the movie, and that is so terrifying, and she's being terrorized by these spirits who want her, and I just love it. I love the apartment setting. I think it's so creepy, and there's so much that can go wrong and so much to explore, and I love that this girl is restricted, so it's even more creepy for horror. It's very much like Rear Window vibes in that sense. And I think it's a really great entry in this series. It's a prequel done right. Then I picked up Black Christmas, which is a movie I've grown to love over time. I remember initially hating this when I first saw it. Over the years, I grew to love it. It's basically a remake of Black Christmas, but it's doing its own thing. It's not even comparable to the original. It's so silly, over the top, campy. Explore Billy's origin story and how he came to be who he is, and it's really weird and disturbing, and the cast of girls in this is great. Katie Cassidy is excellent, and it's just silly good fun. Then I picked up John Carpenter's The Fog, which is one of my favorites. This fog rolls into this small coastal town, and within it are these crew members of this ship that were murdered 100 years prior. So they're back for revenge. The atmosphere in this is incredible. The music is incredible. It's super cozy, and unsettling, and I love it. I love the small town vibes. I love the lighthouse radio station. That's a dream. I would love that job. Picked up The Lost Boys, which is a classic vampire story. It's about this family that moves into this town, and one of the boys is introduced to this girl and her group of friends who happen to be vampires, and he gets turned into one, and it's just really fun. I haven't watched it in years, so I'm excited to revisit it. Then lastly, I picked up Breakdown by Kurt Russell, which is one of the best horror thrillers of the, is it late 90s, early 2000s? Late 90s. I love this one so much, and if you haven't seen this, you need to watch it immediately. This is about a couple who are traveling on a road trip. Their car breaks down, and this truck pulls up to help, and the wife decides to go with the truck driver for help, and the husband, played by Kurt Russell, stays behind with the car. But the thing is, the wife never returns, and he never sees that truck driver ever again. And he sets out to try to find his wife. The entire film, he's trying to figure out what happened to her. And it's just, it's pure chaos at times. It's high stakes, high energy, and Kurt Russell is fantastic. He starts the film off as this very passive guy, and he really goes through hell to try to save his wife, and he just transforms, and it's really fun watching him transform, and it's just a really good mystery, I think, and I just love it. I love it so much. It has like a Hitchcockian feel to me. And there you have it. Those are all of the horror movies I picked up recently. Let me know if there are any movies in this stack that you like best, and let me know what you've picked up recently. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Bye.